Hi there, it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts, UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Thank you very much for joining me again today. Today I am doing one of my casing swap card projects. This is the card that I got. This is from the really lovely Marguerite Moran. I'm not sure if she's got a website, but I know she's got a Facebook page, which I will try and link in the blog post, which is linked below. So I am not doing a complete replica of this. I am doing a proper case, which is, case can be copy and share everything, which means that you more or less do a complete lift, or copy and selectively edit. And I'm going for the copy and selectively edit version today. So what I'm going to take is the basic layout. I'm also going to take the designer series paper that Marguerite has used, but I'm not going to use the Hedgehugs stamp set. I am going to use a carrying over stamp set, and I'm also not going to use die cuts. I'm going to use a punch. So, yeah. Right, so it's the Petal Garden Designer Series paper pack, which may or may not still be available. What I have done, it was available when I prepped this, but things are selling too fast. So what I have done is I've taken this piece of 6x6 paper. I've cut this at 3 and, I want to say 3¼ inches. Let me check. Yep, 3¼ inches, roughly. Actually, is it 3¼ or 3 1/8? No, it's 3 1/8 inches, which is 8 centimetres. Don't worry about dimensions. I will have those on the associated blog post, which is linked below. So I'm going to use this piece as my focal piece. So here, and then I'm going to use the reverse as my my layer, because you know, it's a good way of using up these two pieces. Well, it was one piece, and all I've done is cut it roughly in half. It doesn't actually matter because it's going to go underneath. So to that end, the first thing I'm going to do is run some adhesive, and you could use snail, but I'm going to run some adhesive down the side of my main piece, and then I'm just going to line up that so that there is a smidge of a bit of a something. So just this little border, and it's one of those by eye jobs. Now obviously if you want to save on paper, you could make it even, you could trim this down even more, but for speed I've just used the whole of the sheet of paper. And there we go. Right, I'm now going to use, and this technically isn't one of the colours in the paper pack. Technically the colours are, she says, looking them up, Calypso Coral, Old Olive, Pool Party, Rich Raspberry, Sweet Sugar Plum, which is obviously going, and Whisper White. But this is Pink Pirouette, which kind of goes. It's this pink, so I'm going to use that. So I'm just going to pop that on the card there, and then I'll trim that top bit off. So this is the bottom. So let's pop Fast Fuse on the bottom and up the sides. And again, you could use snail. That would be perfectly okay for this. And then I'm just going to come in a bit from the bottom, because from the top, it's the top, because I know I'm going to trim it off. And then again, this is a by eye job. Just pop it kind of in the middle. And then this bit I will trim off. And I find it much easier to trim from behind. Let me just open that up. Because you can then use the card that you're trimming against as your guide. So you tend to get a nice straight edge that way. Whereas if you tried to do it from the front, you'd have nothing to push against. So that is my basic card. And then obviously I've got to do my focal point. So I've got a scrap of Whisper White, and what I'm going to use is the Graceful Garden, Graceful Garden stamp set, which is this set. This is carrying over, the paper isn't, but this is. So it's just worth bearing that in mind. And I'm going to stamp it in Sweet Sugar Plum, because it is one of the colours that is used, and so it will go. I'm going to just start though with some Pool Party, and I need a scrap of paper, one scrap of paper, because what I want to do is ink this up, and there's this trellis, and I want to stamp it off probably only once actually. I was thinking maybe twice, but only once, and then pop that down first, because I just want that kind of in the background as just a something in the background. And then Sweet Sugar Plum, and I'm going to just ink up the rose as near as I can, just get it on the rose. That's pretty good. I've gone over a little bit, but that's all right. So if I just grab a piece of kitchen paper, I'll just take off that, and then with some Old Olive I'm going to ink up the bottom. I mean, a lot of this won't be seen, but actually I'm going to take the pad to the stamp for this. A lot of this won't actually be seen, but I'll ink it all up just so that I know it's all inked up. Ooh, I just want to get in up there a wee bit more. That's better. Right, okay, so following the line of the background, I'm just going to stamp that, give it a good press, and there we go. So 2 1/4 inch circle punch, and then see, that would have been so much better if I'd stamped it slightly nearer the edge, wouldn't it? Excuse me while I just trim that down a bit. Oh, unless I can do it from underneath. Can I do it from underneath? Nope. Right, let's trim that down a bit. Learn from my mistakes. That's better. There we go. And then what I want to do, because I've got this blank piece, what I'm going to do is put this up here. And because I've got this blank piece, I'm actually going to stamp again for the stalk. I only need the stalk this time. So I'm not going to worry about whether I've re-inked this. I'm just going to re-ink the stalk. So I'm not going to worry, what I should say, I'm not going to worry about cleaning off the top bit because it's going to be covered up. So let's save a step. And it also means I've then got this nice piece where I can see where everything's going. And it is going to overlap the background roses, and I'm fine with that. She says, she who hesitates, am I fine with that? Actually, I might do that. Yep, right, okay, slight change of plan. What I need is a post-it note that hasn't got anything scribbled all over it. So I'm just going to pop a post-it note down here just to protect that edge, because what I'm going to do is actually stamp this over the edge so that I don't go over the pattern that's on the paper. But we've then got that nice stem, and then this I'm going to pop so that it overlaps like that. But I'm going to pop it up. So let's grab some dimensionals. Actually, before I do that, I've got a scrap of another piece which has got the trellis on the back, and I'm just going to punch using the leaf punch, which again is carrying over. This was in the autumn winter catalogue. It was part of the made specially for me not, but you know, made specially for me, Painted Harvest stamp set and punch. So 2 of those, and then I want those to come out sort of here. So, and I want them to be popped up. So what I'm going to do is, right, so I want those there. So they want to be, is that about right? That goes there. So yes, I want those to be about there. So about there. So what I'm going to do is stick one underneath and one on top of the dimensional, because then that will give the 2 of them dimension of themselves, and then just pop another couple of dimensionals on. So just line this up, and it just needs to be as near as you can get it, because we are only lining up the stalk like that. And then we've got the For You. So if I grab a narrow piece of Whisper White, this is trimmed from, it's one of the trimmings from when I cut down cardstock for mats. So, Old Olive. And then just stamp that. Gosh, got it right first time. Always a plan. Always a plan, never necessarily succeeding. Right, just trim that down. Then I'm going to be very brave and trim a little bit more off, because I want it to be very, 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 very narrow. Straight would be good, but we'll go for narrow. For you. Right, so that I'll then pop just here. This is not going to be a small letter. You're going to need a large letter stamp for this, because it's got 2 layers of dimensionals. I'm going to use the mini dimensionals for this because it's tiddy. You could use an edge piece, but I'm out of edge pieces on the pack of dimensionals that I've got going at the moment. So just pop that, yeah, just there. There we are. And then on the inside, let me grab an inside. I'm just going to, again with my, this time my small rose stamp, ink up the rose. You could use a sponge dauber for this if you wanted. And then ink up the leaves. Just trying to get a corner in there. That's probably about right, because I'm going to stamp it off first anyway. And it goes sort of that way. So stamp it off and then just stamp it down in the corner. So I don't mind that it's a little faded or a little ombre, because it's just, it actually adds to the project. Don't know why I got Rich Raspberry out. Oh, because it's in the paper. Haven't used it. Right. So, as you know, I like to put, if I'm using a dry adhesive, I like to put the adhesive onto what I'm sticking to, I should say, rather than what I'm sticking, because I find it means you can line up better. Certainly I can. There we go. So there we are. So that is my case of Marguerite's card. So you can see it's got definite elements that are the same. So both in the design and in the products that I've used, but obviously there are some things that are quite a bit different. So I hope you enjoyed that, and use that as an inspiration. So if you see something that you kind of like but you haven't got the products, think outside the box, change it up, and use the products that you have got, because there is nothing worse than having product that sits on the shelf. So I hope you enjoyed it. If there's any questions you've got, just add a comment or contact me through my website. During April, for the whole of April, I'm running a prize draw, so that if you shop with me and spend £25 or a multiple thereof, anytime during April, and if you put in 2 orders, I add them together and then divide by 25. For every £25 you spend using my host code, which is both below and on my website, I will enter you into a prize draw to win a set of the Many Marvellous markers. Now that is the retiring set, so it's got some colours that are retiring, but it means you get the case, and you get most of the colours that are carrying over. You'll want to add the in colours anyway, so those are carrying over, and well, there's one set carrying over and then the new set. So if you would like to shop with me, you will have that chance to enter the prize draw. If your order is £150, one order is at £150 or more, I would encourage you to not use the host code, because you become your own host and you get to spend the rewards. But that does mean that you would only get 1 entry into the draw, because this is really to encourage you to use the host code. If you do use the host code and shop with me, then what I do is buy product using the rewards from that host code, and I share those amongst the people that have shopped with me. And in March, everyone who shopped with me got a stamp set. So yeah. And that was not a celebration stamp set, so it wasn't just something I collected free. It was actually bought with the rewards. So, and I try and swap it up. So sometimes you get stamp sets, sometimes you get other product. Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you don't already subscribe, please hit the subscribe button. It's down in the bottom right hand corner. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. If you want any other information, do just get in contact with me. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you again soon.